Okay, we're going to cover a shoulder external rotation stretch with PAILs rails. I have Jen here. She's going to be our lovely demo model, and what we're going to have her use today is the squat rack. You can do this on a wall or a door frame, but for our purposes we're going to use a squat rack. So I'm going to have her come and stand right next to the post of the squat rack, and her arm is going to be up at a 90-degree angle right on the post of the rack. Before we start talking about the arm, we're going to make sure that she has a solid pillar. So her rib cage and pelvis is not going to be dumped into this extended position. Nice and stacked, so get that pelvis untucked. Rib cage is stacked, bring that rib cage down. We're going to brace nice and tightly through the core, breathe into that area, maintain tension through the core at all times, all right? Slight breathing into the belly. Now we can focus on the shoulder. So we have a nice solid 90-degree angle, and she can open up her chest a little bit while maintaining that solid pillar and find a little bit of a pectoral stretch. All right, so we're gonna hang out in this position for about 2 minutes. We're just going to relax, deep breathe, maintain this solid position. Change up your hand and arm position if you have a little bit of numbness and tingling. We don't want that, so have a good solid position there. Just relax and breathe into the stretch over the course of 2 minutes. After the 2 minutes is when we're going to start contracting the stuff that we're stretching. So we're going to focus on the forearm, and we're thinking about driving that forearm and shoulder actually into internal rotation. However, this is an isometric contraction, so nothing is going to move. But we're thinking about driving the forearm into shoulder internal rotation, okay? Now we're not just moving the wrist, we're trying to drive the entire elbow and forearm and hand into shoulder internal rotation while not dumping forward with the shoulder, keeping that shoulder in a good position and keeping the core nice and tight. And she's doing this contraction over a 10-second ramp up. So maybe 25, 50, 75, 100% contraction over that 10 seconds, and then sustain that max contraction for 20 seconds. Breathing throughout, staying rigid through the spine. Let's imagine that that 20 seconds is up. Then we're going to open up the chest a little bit more, maintain that solid pillar, and then we're going to externally rotate, pivoting over this elbow and try to reach the forearm and the hand off of the squat rack. And she's going to do that slowly again over a 10-second count. 25%, 50, 75, 100, and then sustain that contraction for 20 seconds. Opening up a little bit more through the chest, pulling off of the squat rack. We're not just looking for wrist extension, we're looking for shoulder external rotation. And the other thing we want you to focus on, go ahead and relax out of that, we'll imagine that 20 seconds is up, is not pushing through any closing angle joint pain. So you should feel a stretch when you're stretching and contractions when you're contracting in the front of the chest. You should at no time feel any pinching in the back of the shoulder. You'll feel these muscles contracting when you're lifting off of the squat rack, but no pinching in the back. If you have that pinching, back out of the stretch, don't push into it, but that's again a sign that you need to get that shoulder joint assessed by a clinician. Again, we just covered a shoulder external rotation stretch with PAILs rails.